Odin!
Oh my god. You brought the prop.
Odin!
The original prop. Oh my gosh.
That is the original prop. Is it?
It might as well have been.
Weigh approximately 0.1 pounds and made of styrofoam. My favorite part is when he just like chucks it at Hulk and it just kind of bounces off him lightly, but like electrifies him. So he's like, "Arr!"
The wire was wound around the wheel. I needed more energy in that intro, so
Yeah.
thank you for interrupting me.
All right, let's hype him up.
Odin!
Watching the other Incredible Hulk movie and
Right?
mostly
Is
about
it
that.
not noticeably better?
Yeah, I do want to talk about that. Welcome to I Know You're Listening, the YouTube pop culture show, the only one that exists. I'm Johnny Blaze.
I'm Ben Hooper.
And we
I'm
are
Joe
joined
Ketchum.
today by... Shut up, Joe. We are joined today by our friend, Joe Ketchum.
You don't say your name, we say your name.
I was trying to be part of the team.
You are part of the team.
I have embarrassed myself. I've shamed my household.
I know, we've already messed it up on your first appearance. It's kind of like when your dog bit me the first time I came over to podcast at your house.
Well, you won that one because that dog is very dead now.
Oh, we're not talking about Joe's dead dog. We're talking about the Incredible Hulk returns.
Yes, with a question mark and everything.
Dr. David Banner, physician, scientist, searching for a way to tap into the hidden strengths that all humans have. Then an accidental overdose of gamma radiation alters his body chemistry until he can find a way to control the raging spirit that dwells within him.
The return is at the front or the back? I can never remember.
The Incredible Hulk,
returns.
The Incredible Hulk Returns, starring Bill Bixby.
A Bill Bixby
Bixby's-
production. Why didn't Bill Bixby show up in Doctor Strange? I know he's dead, but
Because
like
he's dead.
they should have CGI'd him.
I don't know that the Bixby estate gave them permission to do so.
But yeah, we're talking about The Incredible Hulk Returns, made-for-TV movie from 1987? 88?
9.
Nine.
8. 1989 was Incredible Hulk Returns. 89 was Trial of Incredible Hulk.
1988. 2 years older than even me.
Oh.
That
What
just
what
made
was
me really
guys?
depressed.
I'm a wee baby. What was America like in 1988?
It was a hellscape.
Actually,
let me trust you.
yeah. This movie is pretty accurate to what America was like in 1988. It was all like raucous bar fights and out of control capitalism.
It was monsters and ignoring the AIDS epidemic.
Did CDs seem like super space tech? Because this movie made it seem like
Yeah,
CDs.
would
No,
have
I
been.
got
I don't
really
think they were
excited
around
by
yet.
that CD-ROM drive. It's like, oh man, I bet that CD holds a whole megabyte of information.
No, I love, that's one of my favorite things about old sci-fi is when they're showing off the new tech. It's like the 3D printer in Jurassic Park 3, or how every movie from 1997 to 2002 had to explain what an EMP was.
I like to imagine somebody watching this film in 1988 and being like, look at how tiny that laser disc is.
Future is scary. Save
No,
us,
they-
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, there were 2 TV movies. There was maybe going to be a third, but Bill Bixby permanently retired.
No, I thought there was a third. There's Return, Trial, and Death
And
of.
Death.
That's
Yes.
Yeah.
There was going to be a 4th.
Yeah, because he dies at the end of Death of, but it's in sort of a he could come back way. And that's what they were going to do. But Bill Bixby went and fucking died.
All right, I'm pulling up my notes because honestly, this movie was crap. I watched it like twice in the past 2 weeks, and I still have trouble retaining what the fuck happened in this movie. It's not good.
I feel like it broke my brain a little. Like, it was very not good, especially the whole first half. Yet by the end, I found myself being oddly charmed by it, and that made me angry. I was like, would I watch this Thor spinoff? I
pretty fun for what it is. Like, yeah, it's dumb and badly made and of the 80s, but it's like, yeah, I'm enjoying this stupid movie.
There are some like shades of Thor in the Thor from this particular film. I like that how he was calling Hulk Troll like it was his name all the time. Come Troll! It reminded me of Chris Hemsworth in Groot. Like, these are my friends, Rocket and Tree. Like, these are my friends, Donald and Troll.
Well, I want to talk about that for a second, because that's the whole reason we're talking about this random ass 80s superhero movie. This is our Thor Love and Thunder episode.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod.
Oh, they're making a sequel?
Yeah, it's a sequel to this one. Thor just shows up in this random 80s Hulk movie. Not your I guess not your children's Thor.
Sort of your alcoholic uncle's Thor.
Donald Blake in the comics has always been like the Thor alter ego, when alter egos were super important to pretty much any superhero. And this one, instead of Donald Blake becoming Thor, Thor is he's a genie that comes out of Mjolnir.
He comes out
I was gonna ask this because I'm not really familiar with it, but I thought that Thor became Donald Blake as a disguise. Is that how it worked? Or was Donald Blake
Odin,
a human guy?
invented the Donald Blake persona and trapped Thor as Donald Blake for a few years to teach him humility, and then sent him on a trip to Norway where he found the hammer and was like, oh shit, have I been Thor the whole time? And yeah, he was. I could also kind of see, like, projecting in my mind, like, okay, if they made this Thor show that this was clearly a backdoor pilot for, I feel like they could have eventually brought in, like, Donald Blake, you never really existed. Because they talk through this whole thing about how, like, we are connected. I'm a part of you and you're a part of me. Like, are you a couple or are you one guy?
Oh, they're super in love.
Yeah, no, there's a few times where I was like, are they going to kiss in 1988? They didn't.
I wanted it. I was really rooting for it.
Right? I kind of shipped it a little.
I'm sure at some early version of the script it was a lot more like maybe Donald Blake was turning into Thor. But I can hear it's probably the same producer that wanted Hulk to change his name from Bruce to David, but that same
because
producer
Bruce sounded too gay.
That same idiot producer is now back and he's like, I don't know, doesn't the Thor kind of turn into a different guy already?
I love that in this, David Banner he's faked his death. And he's changed his name to David Banyan.
Yeah. Incredible.
Don't they sort of
Which I swear, like, half the time he says his name, he just says Banner.
No, it does. Like, if you... I skip back, like, did he say Banner or did he say Banyan? Because I swear to God, Banyer. I wonder who that could be.
And one of the henchmen's name was, like, Banor.
And I think he even comments on it. It's like, the name, it's basically the same. This is our guy. And like, I don't care. Like, I know he's important to the TV series, but it just doesn't work in this.
That's kind of his whole point there. I wondered earlier on, like, is the reporter going to be in this? Because I feel like it would be okay if he wasn't. And then he was, and I was like, oh.
Really didn't need him. But they needed something to happen, because I'm not sure what they're trying to thwart. There's like a criminal ring happening in the background.
Yeah, well, it's capitalist crime.
They're not like after Banner. They're not after Thor. They're just doing their own thing separately, and it just kind of happens to connect. They're like, oh, there's crime, we'll go fight crime together.
That's the worst part of the movie for me, and that's why it's not even like kind of a fun watch, is there's no villain.
Yeah, I wrote that same thing down. There's no, like, villain for them to punch. They wrestle a helicopter at one point. They literally grapple with a helicopter and
like
kind of
trying
lose.
to pull it down. They're like swinging it down like they have any force on it whatsoever.
It looks like they're on a fun fair ride together. But there's 2 or 3 blonde sort of Cajun guys.
Yeah, the
And that's
Cajun
it.
guys. The one
And-
that, especially the one who's the general from Austin Powers, like, it was hilarious to me because he would occasionally do the accent, but he always had the weird wordings.
They act so tough when they first hire us. Then they fall apart. Peace of mind is for the dead, my friend. I guarantee.
Like, what? Who
That
talks
was-
like that?
Yeah, that is like they were doing Cajun, but it was like clearly they were so bad at Cajun, except for a couple words they tried.
Like David's boss probably should have been the main villain. Like he's trying to get this gamma battery thing going. He has some nefarious purpose for it, while David needs it to suck the Hulk out of him. There should have been something more going on with this technology they're developing.
Right, and it is like entirely immediately suspicious that it's like, I'm a big old billionaire businessman, and I've hired this clearly under a false name fugitive from the law to by night do whatever he wants with this WMD that I've funded for him to make. It's something just very 80s about that.
At least he's white, so we don't have to worry about him.
Right, yeah, I was
Well,
like,
see-
oh, this is so pre 9/11.
Welcome to Reagan's America.
Exactly.
Right, well, that's the thing. There was no real villain in this other than the villain of Capital.
This is hashtag not my Mjolnir.
Wait, you don't like a styrofoam hammer that he throws and it lazily bounces off of things?
I don't mind that they had to do what they could for a prop, but they needed to add a little weight to that guy.
No, I agree 100%. I feel like it would have went miles further if they had simply told the actors, pretend that it's heavy.
And
I immediately recognized Donald Blake, and it was driving me crazy, so I had to look it up. His name is Steve Levitt. I've seen him in one other movie. It's another like so bad it's good movie that I highly recommend. It might even be on Tubi. I have no idea if it's streaming anywhere, but it's called Hunk. And Stephen Levitt plays this nerdy, dweeby little guy on a beach, like on vacation.
Got a type.
And he sells his soul to the devil to become a popular hunky guy.
It's like a
it's
Charles
del-
Atlas ad turned
Yeah.
into a movie.
It's like Bedazzled with Brendan Fraser. It's really weird and over the top.
weird parallels to him in this movie.
Yeah, it's a
feel like
lot like he's got a type.
The problem with Donald Blake in this is that like he was cast to be Thor's anti-comic relief. Like Thor is already the main title guy and the comic relief, so like okay, we need a painfully unfunny serious guy to just suffer.
He handles the hammer almost more than Thor does, maybe even more than Thor does.
Definitely
and
does, yeah.
I feel like Thor acts like the hammer has more weight than Donald Blake does.
He's acting. That's Little John.
But yeah, he's looking like Remy from Ratatouille does not get him very far.
It's a really good call. He'd be live action Remy in a heartbeat.
And honestly, if I wish Thor was a second personality because he would have less screen time. But
I mean, it would parallel the whole Incredible Hulk banner.
Right?
And
No, that's
if
kind of what I
Thor was
wondered.
part of
Like
him.
if they were like, no, this is too on the nose.
well, I think they were thinking they were doing something clever by doing. They talk about it that your hide, you can just send your hide away. Where I am my hide, and I have to live with my hide until he goes away. And that's interesting. But I don't know. There's still this Thor that I'm not even thinking about MCU Thor, just like comic Thor, and it's like you got to justify it. And if maybe Donald Blake was better,
I can only think that their thinking was that like, so if we're gonna spin this off into our own show, we need somebody for Thor to be playing off of all the time. He needs a sidekick. I agree that the choice is awkward and it just doesn't work. I did really like how his whole like explaining of what his hide's like concept is he does whatever I tell him, but he won't do anything illegal.
A switch that turns the channel on, and then bang, there he is. And ready to do whatever I ask, as long as it's legal. It has to be focused on something like a good cause. This is the 80s. I don't know what a good cause is anymore.
And then Thor shows up, and the very first two things that he does is wreck a laboratory and bully a nerd.
From the olden days to like the 90s, superhero stuff was very poorly explained to over-explained, and this movie is definitely a victim of that. I think you even still get a little... I think the MCU really nailed down not over-explaining and keeping things kind of mostly consistent.
It's easy when you can introduce one character, like here's their thing and here's how they work, and now here's another character in the same universe and here's their thing and how they tie into the first one, and here's a third character. And it's like they build it out, and that's why it works in the MCU.
I'm not saying MCU's always perfect and their stuff always makes sense, but I never am sitting there going like, why does Thor will listen to Donald Blake, but they still fight sometimes, and Donald Blake's mean to him, and that's okay. And
he is mean to him.
And food. My stomach is twisted around my spine. I want it full.
Food later, questions now, okay? You Buick on stilts.
That's an insult, isn't it?
The whole idea of Thor being trapped in that hammer genie style is pretty messed up. Like, he is a sentient creature imprisoned in this way, and like, if Donald Blake either needs to never let him out or he needs to let him out all the time.
Yeah,
there's really no reason for him to not just be out all the time so that Donald Blake can teach him how to live. Like, it's crazy. He's apparently had this hammer for long enough to understand it to a point, has never actually sat down and had a conversation with Thor until now, when Thor's like, I need to laugh with women and fight with men, and he's like, let me take you to a rowdy biker bar, where they're gonna play some, like, actually pretty anachronistic for the 80s music.
I feel like they needed a line where Thor needs to be in the hammer to like recharge. Like,
yeah,
can't be out all the time.
Introduce some genie
to
rules.
keep him in there all the time. Yeah,
there's nothing about running out of energy. There's nothing about running out of Odin juice. It seems like the primary reason Donald Blake sends him back is so he doesn't get embarrassed.
Where is Blake? My master waits in his metal chariot. That way.
I'll explain all this to you later. Let's just get out of here, okay?
Okay.
I suppose I'm leaving now.
Good guess. You've caused enough trouble.
I found him, didn't I?
Watch my lips. Go.
The hound returns meekly to the kennel of Odin. Well? Odin!
Right, yeah, it's like, there's girls here, I need you to go back in the hammer.
He's harshing my vibe. He's got to go back in the hammer.
I don't think Hulk or Thor killed anybody in the entire movie, but Donald Blake definitely gunned one man down. Thor had a whole couple Baywatch scenes.
He sure did.
It was glistening in slow motion.
Yeah, glistening in slow motion, just shirtless, running on the beach with a dog.
You know who would have been a good villain for this? Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. What if the evil businessman had been Loki?
Imagine Jeff Goldblum as Loki in this movie.
In the 80s. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he could be one of the Loki variants.
Would have been one of the Loki variants for sure, yeah.
I want to say, I want to point out my favorite Thor line in this movie. There were actually a couple of decent, like, Thor lines that surprised me. Like, amidst all this terrible writing, like, that's a funny bit. I really liked when Thor...
What is it that you pound on my door with such insolence?
I'm looking for a man who
You have found one. And I do not like your face. You look like a rat-tailed Saxon to me, or a thieving Celt.
So I just came up.
I'm learning to be subtle.
I love like super old-timey racism. Just imagine some like fat white dude watching that shit and being like, rat-tailed Saxon? Well, I never!
I will say overall, though, I think Thor, was the best part of this movie. Bill Bixby's great. Lou Ferrigno's great. I loved that in high def. You can see his little sandals. Thor definitely like his little moments. Like I did like his little heartfelt. You are. I need to get out and breathe sometimes. Divine Mission, Saxons, all that's really great. It's just too bad about
Rest of it.
the everything else. But I wanted to kind of. Did we have any notes about this? I want to give us a couple minutes to talk about the sequel because I don't really plan on us truly covering it.
I know I read the description on Tubi, but I didn't watch it. But I know that Murdoch is his lawyer.
Yeah, I let it autoplay because that's the one that I actually remember. This one I didn't really have strong memories of, but that one I remember watching like a couple different times. And I let it autoplay because I was like, is my memory lying to me about that one actually being pretty good now that I've watched this piece of shit? But actually, it is noticeably better from jump. They had better camera work. The sound mixing was better, even. The storyline, the acting. I love Daredevil in that. More than that, I love John Rhys Davies as Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. Daredevil has some moves in it, too. Like, he does some decent stunts for 80s TV.
You guys seen others of these Marvel TV movies that they tried to make series out of? I've seen Doctor Strange.
I have actually still not watched Doctor Strange, but I'm excited to watch that someday. I have very clear memories of the 90s ones on Fox, Generation X, and Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. with David Hasselhoff.
This is
those ones I remember clearly.
Well, I think the Daredevil one is probably the best Marvel like movie until Blade.
I think I would agree with that.
Is there a better
having a hard time
movies?
thinking of other ones that aren't like super awful, like Captain America.
All right, last chance. Anything else? I'm gonna start to outro here.
One thing about the bar scene that I just want to mention at the end of the bar scene, when Thor comes out and is like,
"Oh, I like you, Blake."
Well, thanks.
But only when you're asleep. It's a joke. The angry one. The one I fought in there? He told me that.
This Hulk movie was gratuitous. I felt like they just were inventing reasons to throw Lou Ferrigno in there for action scenes. Like, oh, we haven't had the Hulk in a while. So all of it felt super contrived to get the Hulk out for a little bit.
No, it was like, he's like, I haven't turned into the Hulk in 2 years. But after I do it once, I'm going to just keep doing it every time something is mildly annoying.
I was going to say, that's how the whole Incredible Hulk show worked.
Okay, this is the only thing I've seen of it.
One time he was a laundry driver for a women's prison, and he helped a women's prison break, like, accidentally, but they were like, hey, you've been the best hostage we've ever had. And he was like, yeah, I don't care, let's escape prison. I clearly remember, like, 5 episodes of that show and nothing else.
Sounds like those 5 episodes are all of the episodes.
The one where he is a security guard at a department store and he turns into Hulk. Hulk sees a mannequin that's
All right, well, this has been another magical episode of I Know You're Listening. I don't have any general notes to the creators. Keep up the good work. I heard Kathleen Kennedy say that new audiences hate new actors, so yeah, we need to fire Mark Ruffalo and bring back Bill Bixby.
100%.
Leave a like, subscribe, check out my video game videos. Joe, go ahead and plug something as a treat.
I host a podcast called Word Salad Radio. It's actually several podcast formats, not unlike this show. So yeah, we talk about whatever tickles our fancy over there, wherever podcasts are sold for free.